Hey, VA Nation, Jeff Newton here with National VA Loans. To contact us, National VA Loans is 855-956-4040. Of course, I'm joined by one of my best friends, business partners, and Navy veteran, Josh Buffum. Josh, how you doing?
Jeff, I'm doing great. Glad to be here always. I don't get to be on all these, but I like to do them because I really enjoy it. I really enjoy hanging out with you, number one. I enjoy being able to reach out and talk to other veterans. And honestly, this is good information. We need to get it out.
Absolutely. And you know what? It helps us. It keeps us sharp.
Yeah.
And we do have fun doing these, which is why we don't do them all the time, because I know it looks nice and smooth and easy, but you know what? We end up BSing around most of the time. So, but today we want to talk about something that I think we're going to see more in the market, and that is the advantages of the VA interest rate reduction loan. Or what's it called? IRRRL. And not the Dixie Chicks.
Oh,
Earl had to die.
Yeah, no, this is a good IRRRL. This is the IRRRL you want.
This is exactly the IRRRL you want. So, what are some of the advantages of the VA IRRRL? Well, number one, lower interest rate.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So yeah, it makes it streamlined and smooth. That's probably the number two, isn't it?
Yes, simple refinance. I've always said this. If all we did our entire career was VA IRRRLs, we'd both have full heads of hair still. All right? I'm telling you. They are about as simple as possible. And for anyone that makes them difficult or tries to act like they're difficult, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, and they're easy for the customer. That's the best part. They're easy for you.
One thing we've learned is if it's easy for us, that means it's really easy for you.
Yeah, and especially if you're already in our database, we've already done your loan prior. It's just a smooth, easy process, and it doesn't take hardly any of your time or effort.
Exactly. And let's just kind of hit a few things. Like number one, no need for an appraisal. I know. Think about that. You don't have to go through the appraisal process.
It's been done the first time you did a loan because you already have a VA loan. So that means a VA appraiser went out there, a certified VA appraiser, and appraised your property for a value that we're assuming, and the VA is assuming is still there. So your loan, it doesn't need an appraisal because this is an IRRRL.
How much time does that save? I mean, it saves you about $600-700.
A week and a half?
A week and a half? Yeah, because they got 10 days typically on a VA to return that appraisal. So you can think about that. It does save you a lot of time there.
Plus, it might save you small repairs or little things like that. You know, VA appraisers are pretty picky.
Yeah, they are. They are. Thank God they are, because we wanted to be, because it's for security for you. But in this situation, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about the little piece of carpet tore up that, I know, honey, it's on the to-do list. I'll get it knocked out. You just haven't had time yet. We all have that to-do list, I'm sure. Some other advantages, obviously, are switching from an adjustable rate mortgage. And, we've talked about ARMs or adjustable rate mortgages in the past. They're really not that big of a thing anymore. Not too prevalent, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. But then, of course, we're able to, or the ability to refinance into a VA IRRRL with lower credit scores. And we're going to touch the topic on that in our second chapter of this, which is required credit and eligibility. So, number one, you have to have a current VA home loan, okay, to do a VA IRRRL, right?
Which is, yes, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those obvious ones. So you have to have a current VA home loan. It has to be 210 days from the date of your first payment on that VA home loan, okay? So if you were to close your loan, or if your first payment on the loan was in January, the first time you'd be eligible for that VA IRRRL will be 210 days from that date of that first payment.
Right, which is approximately 6 payments.
Correct.
Approximately.
Now, does that mean you can't do anything until 210 days? Absolutely not. In fact, we're going to reach out to you, especially if you're a previous customer of ours. We're at National VA or Stride. We're going to reach out to you at about 180.
We get an application.
Yeah, get everything.
We're going to have everything ready to go. And on 211 or 12, you're going to close.
Yeah, on day 211, we're going to close you down, and everything's going to be done.
I mean,
we try to make it as smooth as possible.
I mean,
like we say, we make
no reason staying in the higher rate any longer than you have to.
Absolutely not. No reason to make an extra payment if you don't have to.
Right.
If the market has changed, then let's change with it. A couple little intricacies on this is no more than one late payment over a year. I think the VA understands that things happen. I mean, I think we all understand that stuff happens, and it does. But no more than one late payment throughout the course of the last 12 months.
And Jeff, I want to go back and touch on the low credit score, because this is a situation that's happened with borrowers that I've worked with before. They buy their house, something goes a little wrong in their financial world, but their score is still 580 or above, they can do an IRRRL.
Yeah.
They can IRRRL. They may have had a 720 when they purchased the house, but they got dropped to a 580 because of some problem, and they can still do an IRRRL.
They can still do an IRRRL, and
which is a savior sometimes. It saves money, and they can put them in a better spot
and still qualify for the great VA rates.
Right.
I mean, guys, it's a no-brainer when it comes to this. So I'm glad you touched on that. Now, let's say you're out there and you're thinking, well, my credit score is not a 580. Don't let that deter you. Like Josh and I have said a million times, there's always a plan. There's
always a mortgage plan.
Yes.
It might be 2 months. It might be 1 month. It might be 6 months. It might be 1 year. But there's always a plan.
And we're pretty good at finding those plans. I mean, I think between the two of us, we probably looked at 100,000 credit reports over the last 25 years.
Thousands.
Thousands and thousands. So don't let that deter you. Just give us a call, 855-956-4040, and any of our VA specialists. They're all trained the same as we are, and they'll make sure to help you out and get those answers for you. This is an interesting one, and I want to bring this up. Your home must have been used as a primary residence. And when I say that out loud, I'm like, well, duh. The only way you can buy a house using the VA loan is a primary freaking residence. Right. But I say it like that because if you bought your home as a primary residence, and then you vacated that home and decided to rent it out, right? Mm-hmm. So now it's being rented out to Billy Bob over here, and he's making your monthly payment for you, and then you're making a few bucks on it, and you're cash flowing, and everything's great. But all of a sudden, rates drop a point. And you've got your new home over here, you're going to do a VA IRRRL on it. Well, the beauty of it is you can still do a VA IRRRL on the home you vacated. So think about that. You're already cash flowing on it. You got someone else, a renter in there that is making the payment for you and building equity for you. But now the rates go down. You can now do a VA IRRRL on that without living in the home as a primary residence, lower your rate, which will in turn, of course, lower your payment. Which means you're going to cash flow even
greater.
Yeah.
Better investment.
It's a better investment. Guys, there is no other loan like this. There just really isn't. I guess that's probably where we should have started, is there is no other loan like the VA IRRRL. All right. So what do we got next on the list, Josh?
Funding fee. Funding fee. Obviously, if you have any disability, 10%, whatever, there's zero funding fee. But if you are like myself and you didn't incur any kind of disability in the military, then you're going to pay a 0.5 funding fee, which is 0.5%. And that funding fee goes on top of the loan. It's not something you pay at closing or out of pocket, and you finance it over the 30 or 15-year term you've determined you want to be on. It's nominal.
It's very nominal.
And to access this loan, it's practically just free.
Yeah. And it's a much reduced funding fee than what you would pay on a cash out VA loan or on a VA purchase. Yeah. So these are just closing costs that you should consider when you're looking at this.
And this doesn't mean that you could do 10 IRRRLs and it'd be the same.
Yep.
Yeah. It doesn't go up.
And again, if you have a 10% or more service-connected disability, it's
zero as always.
Another closing cost you consider is they do allow up to a 1% origination fee. So what that means, if you're doing a $300,000 loan or a $400,000 loan, it's 1% of that, so $3,000 or $4,000 or whatever the base of the loan amount is. So not everyone charges that, and when I say not everyone, we don't charge that. National VA Loans or Stride Bank, and the reason we don't is because it's garbage fees to me, and I'll argue that case with damn near anyone that wants to argue it.
You're still going to pay title.
Oh yeah,
you got to title it every time. You got to record it every time, so you're still going to pay title. I mean you're going to have some nominal outside fees, but the whole cost is very, very low.
Very low, and the beauty of it is it doesn't cost you anything out of pocket. And that's something to always keep in mind. No matter what kind of refinance you're doing, especially if you're doing National VA Loans or Stride Bank, there's not going to be an out-of-pocket expense.
No, ever.
You're not gonna all of a sudden, hey, by the way, bring $4,800 to closing to save $160.
We're not charging an application fee.
No,
we're not charging you any
rate lock fee. I mean,
what is that?
I mean, what the hell is that? Isn't that part of the deal? Is you got to lock a rate? I mean, it makes no sense for there to be a rate lock fee. But those are just some of the costs you can expect: title fees, credit report. A very small or minimal origination fee. Keep in mind that lenders can charge you up to 1%. Ours usually ends up being about 0.28% of the total. It's pretty low.
I mean, Jeff, typically on an IRRRL, start to finish, what kind of time frame are we looking at here?
Well, I mean, we closed those things in 7 days.
I mean, as little
legally, I think
legally is 7 days. I think is the fastest. I mean, I say 10 to 15 days is a normal process time on these. So from the time you say, "Hey, I'd like to do this," to the time it's done is usually about 2 weeks.
Yeah, and 2 weeks, and well. So just so I in my email, I got a folder for every loan I do, right? So I keep all the information in there. And sometimes, some loans are a little more difficult, and there might be 300 or 400 emails in there. VA IRRRLs, 22, maybe. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's no joke. I looked at that when we decided we were going to do this video, and the last VA IRRRL I did, it had 22 emails in it total. Guys, that was the total communication via email back and forth, and where the average is probably about 170. So if that tells you anything, that's how much easier these loan products are.
So, I mean, and people need to think about this. There's a lot of veterans out there might be thinking, "Oh man, I'd like to buy a house, or I'd like to upgrade my current house. I'd like to buy, gosh, the rates, they're 6.5%, 7%. That just seems high." You got this IRRRL in your back pocket. Just remember, you got the IRRRL in your back pocket. If rates like we think are going to go down in 25, that IRRRL is right here in your back pocket. You're going to change that rate for a nominal cost, and it's going to be a quick, easy process with hardly any paperwork. It's right in your back pocket. So don't compromise your dreams or your wishes or your goals because you've got that IRRRL right here.
Absolutely. And guys, when we say it's a quick, easy process, and that's kind of what we're going to get into next, the process is very simple. You're going to choose the right VA lender. It's us. National VA Loan Stride Bank, and I know it's us because that's how confident I am.
Yeah,
in
call Jeff, call me, whoever.
Yeah, call us, 855-956-4040. So once you select that lender and you know who you want to work with, then it's going to be as simple as submitting an application either online or over the phone. I like doing them either way. Actually, I just took a phone application yesterday for a guy in Oklahoma. It was awesome. I mean, the guy was cool as hell too. He's a Navy guy too. I said, "Oh, my business partner's a Navy man," and this guy's just.
Oh, they're all cool.
Well, you guys going to hear that, but yeah, he's probably right. And then, of course, we have the time requirements, 210 days from the first payment, things like that. But what I want to hit on just a little bit is there's no income requirements. You don't have to supply income documents. W-2s, pay stubs, all the stuff that you had to supply on the loan you did previous to purchase and things like that. You don't have to do that on these loans. You don't have to do the appraisal. We don't have to worry about the condition of the property, anything like that. So when Josh says that the process is simple and streamlined, it is simple and streamlined. It is as streamlined as our hairline is. So it is very, very easy. The underwriting, our underwriters all love them in fact, because they know, all right, we're saving this, we're doing this, we're covering this, we're good to go. And it just makes it so easy for everyone. And then of course, you close the loan, we fund, and then 45 days later or so, you're going to have your first mortgage payment. So that's another beauty of this thing.
You're
going to skip a payment. So, like, say we close a VA IRRRL or VA cash out, even for that matter, in January. You're going to miss February payment, and then your first payment will be in March. And if you call us at 855-956-4040, we'll time that sucker out just right, and we might have a little bit of a gift for you in a situation like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it here. Those are certain specific situations, but they do usually work out for about everybody. I think we kind of hit everything.
Well, IRRRLs are easy.
IRRRLs are easy. We have to stretch this sucker out even. IRRRLs are simple and they're beneficial to you, the borrower, at every turn, without a doubt. Contact us here at 855-956-4040. Of course, check us out online at nationalvaloans.com. And to stay up to date with the most current information for VA home loans and the market in general, check us out at youtube.com/nationalvaloans. Guys, until next time, thank you so much for your service. Thank you for all you do. Take care of yourselves and God bless.